Most people say they want love, but what they're really craving is relief. Relief from loneliness, relief from old wounds, relief from the feeling of not being enough. So they call that love. But real love is not a painkiller. It is not a rescue mission. It is not a reward for suffering. Real love is a mirror. It reflects how safely you can sit with your own emotions, how gently you treat your fear, how honestly you listen to your body when it whispers, "This doesn't feel right." We don't attract love by chasing it. We attract love by becoming a place where safety can live. Emotional maturity is not about being calm all the time. It's about being honest without being cruel, soft without being weak, boundaried without being cold. And when that changes inside you, the kind of love that finds you changes too. Here are 5 ways to cultivate that kind of maturity, the kind that quietly invites secure love into your life. Number 1 is learn to stay when discomfort shows up. Most of us were never taught how to stay. We were taught how to be good, how to be strong, how to not make trouble, how to swallow what hurts and call it maturity. So when discomfort shows up in the body, the mind panics, the chest tightens, the stomach contracts, the thoughts start racing, looking for an exit. We reach for our phones, we change the subject, we make a joke, we blame someone, we tell ourselves we're fine. Not because we are fine, but because staying feels dangerous. Long before we had language, our nervous system learned a simple rule: if my feelings are inconvenient, I am unsafe. So discomfort today doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it feels like threat. It feels like being small again, unprotected, unseen, too much. And so we leave conversations, we leave relationships, we leave our own bodies. Sometimes we leave politely, sometimes we leave angrily, sometimes we stay physically, but disappear emotionally. But healing does not happen through escape. It happens in the moment you feel the urge to run, and you don't. You notice the heat in your chest, the pressure behind your eyes, the knot in your stomach, and instead of asking, "How do I make this stop?" you ask, "What is this asking to be heard?" That question alone begins to rewire something ancient inside you. Staying does not mean suffering in silence. It does not mean tolerating harm. It does not mean shrinking. It means allowing the sensation to exist without declaring it an emergency. It means saying to your body, gently, "I am here. You are not alone. This feeling will not destroy us." At first, your system will not believe you. It will shake. It will argue. It will create stories of catastrophe. Let it. Those reactions are not weakness. They are memory. They are the echo of times when no one came, when emotions were punished, mocked, ignored, or used against you, when staying with your feelings meant being abandoned. So of course your body learned to escape, but you are not that small anymore. Now you are the one who can stay, not perfectly, not calmly, not with spiritual poetry, but honestly, with a trembling breath, with a hand on your chest, with a quiet decision to not betray yourself in the name of comfort. Each time you stay 5 seconds longer than you want to, you teach your nervous system something new. This feeling is intense, but it is not fatal. I can be uncomfortable and still be safe. I don't have to disappear to survive. And slowly, very slowly, something changes. Discomfort becomes information instead of danger. Emotion becomes a visitor instead of an enemy. Presence replaces panic. This is how emotional maturity is built, not through control, not through positivity, not through pretending you're healed, but through 1,000 small moments where you choose not to abandon yourself. And when you stop abandoning yourself, you stop chasing people who abandon you too. You stop mistaking chaos for love. You stop begging for relief and start allowing connection, because the capacity to stay with your own discomfort becomes the foundation for staying present in real intimacy. And real intimacy does not require you to disappear. It requires you to be here, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Number 20, stop confusing intensity with intimacy. Most people don't fall in love with a person first. They fall in love with a feeling, a rush, a spark, a hit of relief, a storm that makes them feel alive. And because it's strong, because it's loud in the body, they call it intimacy. But intensity is not closeness. Intensity is activation. It's the nervous system getting triggered into a familiar pattern, often one it learned long before you ever met this person. A fast reply, a sudden distance, hot and cold, a mystery, a chase. Your heart races, your mind obsesses, your body can't settle, and it feels important. It feels fated. It feels like, if this must mean something. But your body isn't always reacting to love. Sometimes it's reacting to uncertainty, to inconsistency, to the threat of abandonment. A lot of people call that chemistry. But if your nervous system grew up on unpredictability, then unpredictability will feel like home, not a safe home, a familiar home. If love in your early life meant reading moods, anticipating disappointment, trying harder to be chosen, then intensity becomes the language your body understands. You don't just want the person. You want the resolution. You want the moment they finally text back, the moment they finally soften, the moment the tension breaks and you get a little warm. That warm moment becomes the reward, and your brain learns this is love. But what it really is intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that keeps people addicted to things that hurt them. Sometimes you get the payoff, sometimes you don't. And the unpredictability hooks you deeper, so you don't just bond to the person, you bond to the roller coaster, and then you confuse the roller coaster for intimacy. Real intimacy is not a spike. It's a steady presence. It's being able to say, I'm scared without turning it into a test. It's being able to disagree without fearing the relationship will collapse. It's being able to be seen without performing. Intensity often asks, will you choose me right now? Intimacy asks, can we be real together? Even when it's messy, intensity lives in urgency. Intimacy lives in truth. Intensity makes you abandon yourself to keep someone. Intimacy makes you keep yourself while loving someone. Think about what intensity does to your body. It hijacks your appetite. It disturbs your sleep. It narrows your focus until your entire emotional world becomes one person's attention. You start scanning, interpreting, overthinking. You don't call it anxiety. You call it love. But secure love does not require hypervigilance. If you have to constantly monitor someone's tone, mood, replies, availability, something in you is not resting. And love that doesn't let you rest is not love that heals you. Now, here's the part that can feel confusing. Secure love can feel boring in the beginning, not because it lacks depth, but because it lacks danger. When someone is consistent, there's no chase. When someone is emotionally available, there's no puzzle. When someone is clear, there's no guessing game. So the nervous system trained on drama says, where's the spark? But that spark might have been your survival system lighting up, not your heart opening. Peace can feel unfamiliar to a body trained in chaos. A calm person can feel too slow to someone who is used to urgency. A stable relationship can feel flat to someone whose definition of connection was always tangled with fear. So the question is not, do I feel fireworks? The question is, do I feel safe enough to be myself? Do I feel more grounded after being with them, or more dysregulated? Do I feel clearer or more confused? Do I feel respected or like I'm negotiating for basic care? Intensity is often a shortcut to feeling something. Intimacy is the long road of being known. Intensity can happen with a stranger. Intimacy requires time, consistency, repair, and emotional honesty. Intensity can be created by attraction and scarcity. Intimacy is created by reliability and openness. And here's a very practical truth. If someone only feels close when things are dramatic, they're not craving intimacy, they're craving activation, they're craving the familiar emotional frequency of their past. So healing looks like this. You start noticing when you're drawn to the edge, the unavailable person, the one who makes you prove yourself, the one who keeps you guessing. And instead of romanticizing it, you get curious. What part of me is trying to win something here? What old wound is asking to be rewritten? What am I hoping they will finally give me that I didn't get before? And you don't shame yourself for it, because these patterns are not a character flaw. They are an adaptation. They were once intelligent. They once helped you survive emotionally, but now they might be costing you the love you actually want. Because secure love doesn't arrive as a dopamine rush. It arrives as a nervous system exhale. It feels like you can breathe around this person. It feels like you can speak and you won't be punished. It feels like you can have needs and you won't be mocked. It feels like you can be imperfect and still be held. And at first that might not feel exciting. It might feel quiet, but quiet is not the absence of love. Sometimes quiet is the absence of fear. And when you stop confusing intensity with intimacy, You stop chasing the feeling of being almost chosen. You start choosing what chooses you back. You start choosing what is consistent, not what is captivating. You start choosing the kind of love that doesn't light you on fire, but warms you, and that is the kind of love that lasts. Number 3 is tell the truth early, gently and without strategy. A lot of people don't struggle with love because they don't care. They struggle because they're scared. Scared that the truth will cost them connection. Scared that if they speak too honestly, they'll be seen as too much. Scared that their needs will be judged, mocked, ignored, or used against them. So they learn a survival skill that looks like maturity on the outside, but is really self-protection on the inside. They manage, they edit, they time things perfectly. They hold back the real feeling and offer a safer version, not because they're dishonest people, because once being honest didn't feel safe. Maybe when you were young, the truth created conflict, or the truth was inconvenient, or the truth led to rejection, so your nervous system learned it. Say less, feel less, need less. You'll keep the bond. And that strategy might have helped you survive emotionally back then, but in adult love, that same strategy becomes the thing that slowly kills intimacy. Because secure love doesn't grow in performance, it grows in truth. When you tell the truth early, you're not trying to control the outcome. You're giving the relationship a chance to be real from the start. Most people wait. They wait until they're attached. They wait until they have a right. They wait until the fear becomes resentment. Then it comes out sideways through coldness, through sarcasm, through withdrawal, through sudden explosions that surprise even them. But what if we didn't wait until the pain forced the truth out? What if we spoke it while it was still clean? Early truth is clean truth. It sounds like, I like you, and I'm noticing I'm getting anxious when communication is inconsistent. I'm someone who needs clarity. I move slowly emotionally, and I want to build trust over time. I enjoy you, and I also need space sometimes to regulate. I'm not looking for casual. I'm not comfortable with that. That joke hit something tender in me. I'm still learning how to express my needs, but I want to try. Notice the energy in those sentences. There is no punishment in them, no manipulation. No, if you loved me, you would, just reality. And that's what emotional maturity looks like. Now, when I say tell the truth, I don't mean dump every trauma story on the table to earn closeness. I mean something more courageous. I mean naming what's happening inside you without making the other person responsible for your inner world. Because immature truth sounds like an accusation. You never care. You always do this. You're just like everyone else. That isn't truth. That's pain speaking. Mature truth is slower. It's when that happened, I felt something tighten in me. I noticed I started telling myself a story. I want to check in instead of assuming. I need reassurance, but I also want to own that this is a sensitive place for me. That's the difference. You're not handing them a verdict, you're inviting them into your experience, and gently matters. Because gentleness isn't weakness. Gentleness is regulation. It means you speak from the part of you that wants connection, not from the part of you that wants control. It means you don't weaponize your vulnerability. You don't say the truth like a grenade. You say it like a door opening. And then there's this part, without strategy. This is where most people get stuck, because strategy is how we try to stay safe. Strategy is the invisible bargaining. I'll act cool so they don't leave. I won't ask for what I need until they're invested. I'll say I'm fine, but maybe they'll notice I'm not. I'll pull away so they chase me. I'll post something to make them jealous. I'll pretend I don't care, because caring is risky. Strategy is the child in us trying to protect the heart. And again, we don't shame that child. We understand them. They learned that directness was dangerous. But adult love cannot be built on indirectness, because indirectness breeds confusion, and confusion breeds anxiety, and anxiety makes people do things that look needy or cold, when what they really are is frightened. Secure love needs clean signals, not games, not tests, not hints, because when you communicate through strategy, you create an unstable emotional environment. The other person has to guess where they stand. And even if they stay, you don't feel safe, because deep down you know they're staying with your mask, not with you. And that's the tragedy. You can be chosen and still feel alone. if the real you wasn't present when you were chosen. So telling the truth early, gently, and without strategy is not about being brave once. It's about practicing a new relationship with yourself. It's saying, I will not abandon myself to be loved. I will not shrink my needs into silence. I will not perform comfort while I'm hurting. I will not make someone prove their love through mind games. I will speak clearly, even if it risks rejection, because clarity protects my dignity. And here's the part that changes everything. When you tell the truth early, you save yourself years. Years of trying to convert someone into a safe partner. Years of rationalizing inconsistency. Years of negotiating for basic care. Early truth acts like a filter. Secure people lean in toward truth. They don't punish it. They don't mock it. They don't too much. They respect it. They respond with curiosity. They ask questions. They make adjustments if they can. And if they can't, they are honest without cruelty. Insecure dynamics often react differently. They avoid. They minimize. They twist your words. They call your needs drama. They offer just enough to keep you hoping, but not enough to make you secure. And this is not to label anyone as bad. It's to notice compatibility, because your truth is not a problem to manage. It's a compass. It shows you where safety lives, and it shows you where it doesn't. So the goal is not to say the perfect thing. The goal is to become someone who can tolerate the discomfort of honesty, because honesty has a cost. It can cost you a connection that was never going to be safe. But it also gives you something priceless, self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of secure love. When you stop using strategy to hold on to people, you stop choosing people who require strategy. You start choosing relationships where the truth doesn't create fear, it creates closeness. And that's what you were looking for all along. Number 4 is build a life that doesn't collapse without a relationship. Many people believe they want partnership, but what they are actually searching for is stability. Someone to organize their emotions, someone to quiet the loneliness, someone to give their life a shape, so the relationship becomes the center of gravity. Their mood depends on it, their sense of worth depends on it, their future imagination depends on it, and that is a heavy thing to place on another human being. Not because love shouldn't matter, but because no relationship can safely carry the weight of being your only source of meaning. When one person becomes the container for your entire emotional world, love quietly turns into pressure. Pressure to respond perfectly. Pressure to never leave. Pressure to fix what they did not break, and even the kindest partner eventually feels it. They feel the invisible expectation. Don't disappoint me, or I fall apart. That's not intimacy. That's dependency dressed up as romance. A life that collapses without a relationship is not a life ready to share. It is a life asking to be rescued, and rescue is a fragile foundation for love. Emotional maturity begins with a different question. Who am I when no one is choosing me? What fills your days when there is no good morning text? What steadies you when no one is holding your hand? What reminds you that you exist beyond being desired? Because if the answer is nothing, then love will feel like oxygen. And anything that feels like oxygen becomes terrifying to lose. So you tolerate what hurts, you shrink your needs, you negotiate your dignities. You call anxiety attachment, not because you are weak, but because your nervous system believes, without this person, I disappear. Building a life outside of romance is how you teach your system something new. I exist even when I am alone. I matter even when I am not chosen. I am held by more than one thread. That doesn't mean becoming emotionally armored or hyper-independent. It means becoming rooted. Roots are quiet. They are friendships that know your real voice. Work that gives your energy somewhere to go. Rituals that bring your body back to itself. Moments of solitude that no longer feel like punishment. When you have roots, love becomes an addition, not a replacement. You stop approaching relationships with hunger. You approach them with discernment. Not, please stay so I can breathe, but let's walk together if it's healthy for both of us. There is a profound nervous system difference between those two energies. One is tight, the other is spacious. When your life is empty, you cling. When your life is full, you choose. And secure love is built on choice, not captivity. Think about how different your boundaries feel when you know you will be okay without someone. Suddenly, no doesn't feel like abandonment. It feels like self-respect. Suddenly, walking away doesn't feel like death. It feels like grief and also dignity. Suddenly, you don't need to audition for love. You simply show up as you are. And that changes everything. Because people who are emotionally healthy are not looking to be needed as a life raft. They are looking to be met as a companion. They are drawn to someone who can stand on their own feet and still reach for connection. Someone whose happiness does not depend on constant reassurance. Someone whose identity does not evaporate inside a relationship. Someone who doesn't disappear into way and lose me. A life that doesn't collapse without a relationship is not a lonely life. It is a stable one. It is a life that says, I want you, but I do not require you to survive. And that sentence, quietly spoken in the nervous system, is incredibly attractive to secure people, because it tells them this love will be free, not coerced, not desperate, not transactional, just two whole people choosing to walk side by side, not to fill a void, but to share a life that already exists. Number 5 is learn to soothe yourself before asking to be soothed. Most of us were never taught how to be with ourselves when something hurts. We were taught how to reach for a voice, reach for reassurance, reach for someone to tell us we are okay. So the moment discomfort rises, the nervous system looks outward, text them, call them, check their tone, check their last message, replay the conversation, imagine the worst, not because we are needy by nature, but because at some point our pain was too big to hold alone. Maybe when you were small, your feelings overwhelmed the room, or no one noticed, or you were told to be strong, quiet, grateful, mature. So your body learned, when I hurt, I must find someone to hold this for me. That makes sense. It was survival. But survival patterns do not always create secure love. Because when another person becomes your only place to land emotionally, love turns into a fragile contract. Stay calm so I can be calm. Be consistent so I can feel okay. Don't change or I fall apart. And no human being can carry that without eventually feeling burdened or powerful or trapped. Learning to soothe yourself does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean I don't need anyone. It means something quieter and far more courageous. I will not abandon myself in moments of pain. Before you reach outward, you turn inward. You notice the sensation instead of immediately narrating it. The tight chest, the sinking stomach, the heat behind the eyes. You don't argue with it. You don't dramatize it. You don't judge it. You name it. This is fear. This is loneliness. This is old grief waking up. This is my body remembering. You slow your breath not to be spiritual, but to be present. You put a hand where it hurts. You let your nervous system feel that someone is here, even if that someone is you. At first, this feels unnatural because no one modeled it, because your system expects relief to come from outside, so the urge to reach will be loud. It will say, if they don't answer, something is wrong. If I don't fix this now, I will be abandoned. If I sit with this, I will drown. But emotions do not drown us. Avoidance does. When you stay, something surprising happens. The feeling peaks, and then it softens, not because it disappeared, but because it was allowed. This is how the body learns safety, not through reassurance alone, but through experience. Experience that says, I can feel this and still exist. I can be distressed and still be intact. I don't have to be rescued to survive. And then, only then you reach outward, not from panic, not from collapse, but from clarity. You don't say, fix me, save me, prove you care. You say, I had a hard moment. I could use some closeness. I'm feeling vulnerable and I want to share it. That difference is everything, because one is a demand born from fear. The other is an invitation born from presence. Secure partners can meet invitations. They struggle under demands. And this practice changes your relationships in subtle ways. You stop sending messages you later regret. You stop testing people with silence. You stop turning emotions into emergencies. You stop confusing regulation with love. You become steadier, not numb, steadier. And from that steadiness, your needs become cleaner. They are no longer disguised as control or jealousy or criticism or withdrawal. They are simply needs. Human, honest, direct. There is also a deeper healing here. Every time you soothe yourself, you give your nervous system a new memory. This is what care feels like. This is what presence feels like. This is what safety sounds like inside. You become the first secure relationship of your life, and that changes what you tolerate. You stop chasing people who offer intensity but no consistency. Stop calling emotional absence undependence. You stop begging for crumbs because you are no longer starving inside. You still want love, but you don't need it to survive. And that is the paradox. The more you can hold yourself, the healthier the love you attract, because you no longer reach for someone to end your pain. You reach for them to share your life, and secure love recognizes that difference immediately. It feels it in your tone, in your timing, in your boundaries, in your calm. Learning to soothe yourself first is not about becoming distant. It is about becoming safe, safe enough that love becomes a choice, not a lifeline. Secure love cannot grow where resentment lives. Secure love does not arrive like a lightning strike. It arrives like a quiet homecoming. And the moment you stop asking, will they choose me? And start asking, can I be myself here without disappearing? You are already becoming emotionally mature, and love, the healthy kind, recognizes that. It always does.